good. Sorry that hit that replay. I was shuffling around some tiles. Welcome in, Nitro Nation. Big night tonight. I don't know. There's a little bit of news going on, I guess, in the atmosphere of drag racing. I'm still drying out from Pomona. What a disaster of a weekend that was. A bit of irony as well. Flew out to Pomona on Thursday night. Got there at midnight. Got my rental car at about 1:30. Got to the hotel. There was some miscommunication between myself and the hotel, so I didn't have a room, so I had to wind up having to get a room. I get to the track Friday morning. Rain. Nothing but rain all day long. Get up Saturday morning. There's nothing. I was not prepared for rain in California that much, even though I did look at the forecast. I really wasn't like that prepared. So I got absolutely soaking wet. Nobody was out doing anything. Everything was soaking wet. You couldn't walk past any tent without getting absolutely drenched with water coming off of it. So anyway, we get back to the track Saturday, same thing all day long. Hard rain. There's a river through the manufacturer's row. Just absolutely miserable conditions. And Sunday, a lot of the same thing. It quit raining for about 4 or 5 hours, but even still, they were having trouble with the track, underneath part of the track, even getting it close to being acceptable. And reading a lot of social media this week, a lot of goings on about canceling the final race. Is it good? Is it bad? Does it make a difference? It's tough. I was reading Drag Racing Mayhem on Twitter. A lot of good content there, but that's a tough call. The drivers ultimately, I guess, with NHRA made the call because NHRA kind of laid it out, said, hey, we can't get this track to anywhere near acceptable within a reasonable amount of time, and going anywhere else really was not feasible. You start putting a strain on all the resources of everything involved when you start moving complete events. So tough call to make. As a fan, it's tough to swallow. It's like, man, your final results. Really and truly, though, I feel like there really wasn't but about one points race that was really going to be worth watching. And I think that was going to be Pro Stock Motorcycle. I would have liked to have seen Gage and Richard go after that. Gage coming off the win, but let's not forget in that where was it, semifinal round, Richard was trip zip. It just so happened. I mean, you trip zip, you're going to win a lot of the races that you're in, unless you run up against a buzzsaw in the other lane as well that has a 00 something. So even though Gage outran him, Richard's performing there. I would have liked to have been able to see those guys race that one out. That one's the only one I was really looking at. Obviously, with the 23-point advantage, it was less than a round. So that could have went either way. I think that one would have been a really good one to watch. Prock, all he had to do was win a round, or Hagen not win a round, either one. Coletta had wrapped that up after they scrapped qualifying, and I don't think Greg was catching Dallas at all. So overall, a tough decision, but the right decision. But big news coming out of Pomona there in Pomona. John Force retiring. Kind of saw it coming. But it makes it official. Man, it's tough. It's Brittany leaving to do her thing and grow her family, and there's not going to be a Force in the field. But on the heels of that, man, and then watching Austin Prock in the post race in the media room, talking about. There was a lot of specific questions. I'll take you before that, just before going into the media room, out in the little pavilion there where everybody was lining up to get pictures. golly, that crew, they had the speakers on the car. Like everybody was jamming out. It seemed like there was so much continuity, so much chemistry. Everybody seemed together. You never would have thought in 7 days, blowed up, gone out the door. Didn't see it coming. I've talked to some people, I was asking some people, how shocked are you? And somebody said, well, not shocked at all. It's a business. I know, I understand it's a business. Who sees the 2-time champion just up and leaving? Like who sees that happen? Especially on the heels of John Force retiring. Like I said, in the media room, and they're asking him, golly, you just won your two championships here. You got John Force retiring. This is kind of thrusting you into the spotlight. Are you excited about this? And every answer he gave, you would have never thought that he was abandoning ship. I was just completely taken by surprise. This is me talking here, but this doesn't seem like something that happens overnight, right? Like this doesn't seem like something that just happened over a phone call. This had to be going on. I would think this seems like it should have been going on for a while. It's a lot of moving parts and pieces that have to go along with Austin Prock and Family parting ways with John Force Racing. And there's Force's statement. They've been doing what they do for 50 years, and all the hard work and preparation continues for the 2026 season. I have no idea who's going to be in that seat. We have no confirmation on where Proc's even going. I know there's a lot of rumors of Tasca and Ford, but man, that truck had to be it's a deep dump truck, man, to go pry away a champion and his father and brother. But on the flip side of that, it's a unique situation in that that's the only combination, probably, I would imagine, that could actually be pried together. You get one, you get them all. That combination is it's not necessarily what's going on at John Force Racing, but it's what's being tuned into those cars. And I'm not saying that the crew guys aren't the reason for that. They are, but however, that final tune, all those final parts and pieces come from Jimmy. And he makes those calls, and that's you got your son driving and your other son co-crew chief, car chief, whatever we call it, and then you're the ultimate boss. That's an easy trio there to get gone. But that's a unique situation where they were able to pry a championship, 2-time back-to-back funny car champion right out of the sea, out of John Force Racing. This is where I understand it's a business, but you're talking about you could be taken over for you're taking over for the absolute GOAT of the sport. And okay, his daughter's stepping away, so now there's going to be no Force in there. So regardless of what you think or whatever, and in my mind, I would say, well, that would be a lot. It seems like that would be more comforting, that I would be the main player. That person doesn't, person driving the car. There's no person here with the last name Force anymore that's driving the car, and I'm the funny car 2-time champion. I'm going to be the one taking over here. Man, that's a tough decision to make. I don't know. That's a tough decision to make. What do you guys think on that? I don't know. But hey, best of luck to them. We'll see what happens. Don't know. No confirmation about where they're going. Like I said, a lot of speculation. God, yeah, I'm surprised about it too. I was shocked. Like I know everybody says, well, no, it's a business. It's a business. You shouldn't be surprised. It's a business. Man, how do you leave John Force Racing, your 2-time champion, back to back? How do you get out of there? Lee. But hey, again, John Force retires. No less than a week later, Austin Prock says, we're going to rock it out of here. So Prock and family leave John Force Racing. What do you do? Pomona was a disaster, y'all. Like I said, again, it was raining. No, I don't think so, God Squad. I'm hearing, I don't know this. This is not a report. This is just everything that you can go read on Twitter. There's a lot of people that are mentioning that a possible Ford connection with Tasca. I don't know. But again, I go from Florida to California. It's raining. We haven't seen rain here in Florida in 2 weeks. We get out to California. I've seen more rain in 3 days in California than I saw in 2 weeks here in Florida. I fly back home to Florida, and here's the funny part. So when I flew to California, I flew into Ontario, California, which is right in between Fontana and Pomona. So the mountain range you see in Ontario, California is the same mountain range you see on the backstretch in Fontana. So I couldn't see it much because it was raining, but sometimes I could see it. As I'm looking at that whole entire mountain range, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's raining. Awful. I get back home Monday night. I get on the simulator rig. And my favorite series, the truck series, is racing at Fontana, California, looking at that same mountain range I've been looking at for the last 3 days. Now it's beautiful, sunny, virtually sunny in virtual California. And I'm just having to race there and watch it be sunny after I was there in real life, and it was nothing but rain. So bit of irony for there. But so TSR would be a smarter move. Would it? Would it? What? I mean, it all depends on. I mean, that's money though, God Squad. That's all. That's all money dependent on where people go. But little thing I've been working on, little thing I've been floating around, especially here lately. Is Pro Stock becoming irrelevant? Does it do much for you anymore? It doesn't. It doesn't have the thrill that it used to. It doesn't have the thrill for me that it once did. I used to get excited about Pro Stock. I still do, but just nowhere near like what I did. They don't look like race cars anymore. They just, I miss the hood scoops. They're 500 cubic inches. Their fuel injection, like there's super gas cars that are running not the mile an hour, but when I say comparative mile an hour, they're running within 30 mile an hour of some Pro Stockers, and that they're on the throttle stop running 990 at 170, 180 mile an hour. That's where I know, God Squad, Pro Stock is my class too. It always has been, but I'm telling you, it's not worth a damn, man, anymore. I hate saying it like that, but like I was going through and I couldn't even, there was only like a handful of cars I could even look at. Everything else was put up, but like the way they're narrowed up in the front and they just don't, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of where Pro Stock is at right now. I do like the Mountain Motor Pro Stock class. I like the big cubic inches. I like the hood scoops. I like the carburetors. All that stuff that goes into what I always thought was pro stock. But what do you guys think about the current pro stock? Is it becoming irrelevant? Like they just, I don't know. I would rather them, like I said, you got the Factory X that are damn near running what they're running. I mean, not comparatively speaking, but what's next for pro stock? What's your trajectory? I guess I'm asking for pro stock. Where do you see it going? I don't really see it having much of a future. I mean, you've got Cletus McFarlane and them in the stick shift class that just absolutely bombing these things. Like where's the allure of pro stock? What do they? I don't know how to word it. I feel like it's falling out. I feel like it's falling out quick. What's the future of pro stock? What's the future of that look like? Because a 500 cubic inch fuel injected car, I mean, that's a pretty standard super gasser at this point. It's just got a lot of fancy stuff on it. You know what I mean? And it's got a clutch. I understand there's some different stuff with the transmission, but like, what's the future of it? What can we look for in pro stock? And is it becoming irrelevant? Does it make you excited anymore? Now, I will say this though, the one thing that I do love is why. Okay, well, here we go. We'll get on this different subject. Why is pro stock the crown jewel of burnouts anymore? Why the hell does Funny Car and Top Fuel barely even spin the tires to 6? They barely even get them to 60 foot anymore. Hell, they barely get them out of the lights before they're just like, oh yeah, that's good. What's happened? What's happened to the traditional stuff in drag racing? In my opinion, that fans absolutely love to see. I love a big smoky burnout from a Funny Car. I love a big smoky burnout to, a little past, 150 foot on a Top Fueler. Like those were always fun. That's always fun to watch. It's fun to see. And so why is, yes, Factory X is the new pro stock. That's what I'm saying. So what is, like, they're going where, like, that's supposed to be the entry class, like the entry into pro stock. But where does pro stock go? Like you got, and I completely agree with you, Chris. Like, so what do we do with pro stock? Or is it, what's going to be the new look of pro stock in the next 5 years? I just don't see it remaining the same. But back to my point on the burnouts, why is a pro stocker leading the ranks in burnouts? Because those are fun. Those are fun to watch. I like a good burnout, but I can't get it from the fuel cars anymore, and I don't understand that. It's got to be. I mean, obviously it's a price thing or whatever, but I don't know, Dom. I don't know, bro. I don't know. We were talking about this earlier. Man, listening to Austin in the post race interview, there was a lot of mention of Austin. John Force just retired. Brittany's, stepping away. You're kind of, you're the 2-time champion. Freshman and sophomore year, no slump. You're thrusting yourself into this limelight. You're the next guy to take over for John Force. He just retired. Like the stage was absolutely set. The table had all the beautiful linen and the silverware, and all the china was taken out of the cabinet. And he's like, I'm good. I don't want to eat. I don't want to eat here. I'm good. What? How do you do that? I don't understand. How do you do that? That's tough. That's a business decision, if you will. But it's not one that I would. I don't know. I mean, I say it's not one I can make. Obviously, I'm not driving a funny car either. Never have to make that kind of decision. But I just don't see how. I don't see how you leave John Force Racing. I hate to rehash this, what we've already talked about over and over and over. But it's absolutely true. Like I don't know. But going back into pro stock, like I was talking about, this with all this FL2K and the World Cup and stuff, like this does set one hell of a stage for 2026. Now, I will say this: I don't mind doubling back. Maybe this is a little bit of a spark that gets it going again. Man, the drama that's gonna be going on. Ooh, the drama. It's gonna be interesting to see the starting line theatrics, maybe the top end theatrics, what goes on there, the looks that they're gonna get, the comments that are gonna be made. Ooh. I'm looking forward to the Gator Nationals. I can tell you that in March. That's going to be one fun place to be at because, whew, I don't. It's like I'm speechless on that. It's absolutely speechless. But again, doubling back to the pro stock. What about Mountain Motor Pro Stock? I am a fan of Mountain Motor Pro Stock. Hood scoops, carburetors. Big mile an hour, big horsepower, big cubic inches. Like maybe they're gonna have to do something because this current pro stock is just, it's like super comp without the dial in. It's top sportsman, you know what I mean? Like they're not setting the woods on fire at all. And I'm not trashing the class. Please don't anybody think that. I'm not trashing anybody that drives in the class. I love pro stock. It's my favorite class. However, the current pro stock model is it's in trouble. Like it's in trouble. It doesn't have, like, what's its future? Is I guess is what I'm asking. That's what I'm going to talk about coming up. Is where does it go from here? Like, who said it? Chris Fletcher, Factory X is a new pro stock. Yes, I totally agree with you, but where does pro stock go from there? Where does like the pro stock now go? And is that, do we split? Do we have a split? I wish they would just scrap it and go to Mountain Motor Pro Stock personally. But I know that's quite a bit more expensive. But however, it would still be fun to see and hear. But going back, recapping the night, John Force retires, makes it official. We all kind of knew that he was gonna. We all kind of knew that he was gonna step away. It was pretty obvious. I kind of thought, but makes it official. And again, we go to the banquet. We have the post race stuff. Again, Austin Prock's asked about the future and his thrusting into the limelight and taking over for the boss and blah 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 blah, and all the answers he gave were so like perfect, polished. See, that's what Chris. This is what I'm talking about. Like that's what pro stock is a competition eliminator, right? Like so like that. So you put that there in Factory X. but you're replacing them with essentially the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm probably not making any sense. But if you, I mean, you're basically plugging and playing. Like if you take Pro Stock and put them into into Competition Eliminator, and you take Factory X, put it into Pro Stock, okay, but you're still running relatively the same numbers. I mean, relatively, but I know there's a little bit different. And I know there's some different combination stuff they have, which makes it a little bit more attractive. I agree. The Factory X is a badass. I will agree with you on that. Those are just watching them are more entertaining than watching the current Pro Stock. In my opinion, I agree. I agree with that. And if they could, maybe, I wish they could just bring back some hood scoops, man. I want it to look like a race car. I don't want it to look like a sedan. You know what I mean? Like I like hood scoops. I don't like that. That doesn't. I don't like the way that looks. But again, John Force retires. Austin Prock and Family walks away from John Force Racing. Huge way to start the off season, man. We weren't even dry from Pomona yet. I hadn't even got warmed back up from Pomona and Kapow. Just absolute news. So let's see here. At least Factory X is more stock appearing. Yes, see, there you go. That's another very good point, Chris. Is when I was like I said, when I was walking around looking at the cars and taking of what cars that I could see, they didn't. I don't know. They don't look right. Something about them just don't look right anymore. But I like I'm with you on the Factory X being more boxy and more relatable to the fan, because it does look like something you can drive. I totally agree with you on that, which makes that particular car not having a hood scoop makes a little bit more sense. I don't know why, but it does. But we're going to wrap it up for the night. We're going to be talking about this. Keep it up with us on Instagram, on Twitter, on my TikTok, on Taylor's TikTok, on Above the Yellow Line, Instagram, Above the Yellow Line Media, YouTube, X, all Above the Yellow Line Media. We got a lot of creators making a lot of great content. F1, NASCAR, IndyCar, all sorts of excellent content. So come follow us over here at ATYL Media. But for everybody here at ATYL Media, I am Big Duke. I hope we've had a great night. We're going to be talking more NHRA on Monday nights coming up next week. But we're getting out of here for the night. You guys keep digging. Big Duke out.